All right, and we're live. Let's see how this sounds. Wait for this to go live, make sure everything's working properly. Wait for it. Come on. All right, sounds okay. Pardon me. All right, so a couple of things I wanted to talk about. I was going to do a stream yesterday, actually, but to be honest, I just didn't feel like it. I ended up listening to Sons of Kojima. They had, and I haven't even listened to all of it by a wide stretch. I've been listening to it on and off for the past few days, but they had a 7-hour stream the one day, and then the next day, like a 3-hour stream. Basically, apparently, Darkside Phil, like the company he was supposedly partnered with, its parent company didn't realize that Darkside Phil was working for them, and they put a stop to that once they realized it. And they were actually interviewing people from that parent company in the one stream. So, I mean, interesting stuff, but going on way damn too long to catch up with it. Okay, first thing I want to talk about before I get into any kind of news is I want to actually send some praise towards Richard Spencer. And I realize I've been very hard on him, and I believe rightfully so. But I am nothing but fair. So one thing I saw him do that I think was incredibly well played. So he was on that interview with, what was it, Charles Barkley and some other black dude on CNN or some shit like that. Well, right away, there's your first mistake, Richard. You don't go on fucking CNN. You don't talk to fake news. Knock that shit off. You need to have some media discipline already. But, of course, he's a attention slut, so he does. I haven't watched the interview because I don't watch fake news. I'm certain they, tried to ambush him. I'm certain they edited the fuck out of it because, of course, they would have. But anyways, I've seen a few tweets from him in the aftermath, and I will say that the way he has handled the aftermath of this has been absolutely perfect. He's tweeting he's like, "Oh, it was so nice to meet you guys," like tweeting at him. And there was one news article where Charles Barkley said, to some interviewer, "This was the worst experience of my life," interviewing him. And Richard Spencer just like retweets that with a thing above it, says like, "Well, I for one had a great time." That's perfect. That is exactly how you need to handle that crap. Oh, and the one positive thing I will say came from it for anybody that's pro-white is, that one guy really just let his hand tilt and said like, "Your grandchildren will be brown," all angry in his face and shit like that. Yeah, that's way to tip the hand there. So who knows? Maybe real good came of the interview. I think it's overall foolish to talk to fake news. They need to be shunned because that drives them fucking nuts. I mean, just look at how pissy they got when Trump didn't let them come to dinner after he won the election. But yeah, credit where credit's due. I'm very impressed with how he handled the aftermath of it. I try to be a fair man, and even if I don't care for somebody, if they're doing right, I'm going to say it. And because that is exactly how the right has to act. We have to be lighthearted. We have to be, I mean, yeah, there's times to scream and shout and be angry, but we have to, and we have been doing this since at least Gamergate. We have to be the ones having fun. Okay, we have to be the ones laughing and just attractive in that way. Because people want to have fun. They want to be around the fun people. That's actually something the left had going for it during the Bush years. They seemed to be the fun rebels. I mean, you can't base a philosophy just off that. Otherwise, when you get in power, you don't know what the fuck to do with it. But you have to have fun about shit. You have to be fun. And, you could say, well, you shouldn't have to. It should be the strength of your ideas. Well, yeah, but we don't live in shouldland. Most people are going to be swayed by that sort of thing. Sad to say, maybe it shouldn't be that way, but it is. And, we have to be the people that can actually take and tell a joke. Pardon me. Fucking pollen. I think it's actually getting to me. I don't really have bad allergies, but I don't know. It does. The pollen count's been extremely high. Thank God it's been raining the past couple of days and knocked it down, but damn, it's been rough. But yeah, the right has to be the ones to have fun. Oh man, coughing like DSP over here. Is Bechtloff calling for more dank memes? Yes. Look, dank memes alone don't win the day, but they're a pretty integral part of things. The right was, during this election cycle, having fun storming social media with laughs and jokes and memes, and Hillary Clinton was a withered old lady shaking her finger at a cartoon frog. I mean, how do you think that plays out? That's the biggest problem the religious right had back in the day. I mean, think about it. Back in the 80s and into the early 90s, the religious right had a tremendous amount of power. Guys like James Dobson. I mean, James Dobson was a kingmaker in the Republican Party right up until the Bush years. But nobody wanted to be around those guys. Nobody wanted, like, when somebody's shaking their fist at you and, back in the 90s, you're playing Streets of Rage on the Genesis. That's the devil, And don't get me wrong, people on the left got caught up in that moral panic too. But who was the loudest voice? Maybe not the most powerful voice, but who was the loudest, angriest voice about that kind of shit? It was always those guys. And I mean, nobody wants to be those guys. People like having fun. People like that. Nobody wants to be around a pearl clutcher. Except other pearl clutchers. Nobody's won to faith in Christianity by the pearl clutchers among it. It just doesn't work that way. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have moral standards, and that, even with your fun, with your entertainment, that kind of thing. But I mean, you'll notice that guys like that, they don't offer an alternative. You know what I mean? The religious right never offered. My computer is really loud. I hope y'all can't hear that because I'm trying to use the computer mic. I might switch mics. I don't know. Let me know if there's any kind of audio issues. But yeah, the religious right never offered alternatives to entertainment. I mean, maybe a few weak, cringeworthy, unwatchable shit here and there. And likewise, these feminists of a few years ago, when they were at the height of their power, I mean, they were basically left-wing church ladies. They were pearl clutchers. And I mean, I would defy anyone. Watch the entirety of Anita Sarkeesian's videos if you can sit through it and tell me, does she ever actually spell out what she wants? No. I mean, that was the running gag basically back then. It's like you could win a debate with Anita Sarkeesian if you just looked her in the eyes and say, what is it you want? Although at least the religious right had an idea what they wanted. Just no idea how to get there. All right. I might take a caller if somebody wants to message me, but let's see, what the hell was the other thing to get to? Oh yeah, I don't think I covered the Comey firing thing yet, because that's been quite an interesting few days. This encapsulates it. Okay, so, and I don't have the article in front of me, but Colbert, on his show, what is he now? He's got Letterman's old show, something like that. He's doing his monologue, and he says, "So Trump just fired Comey," and the audience applauds. Because the left wing sheeple, they can't keep up with the shifting narrative. And they maybe were stuck on last Tuesday when they were supposed to hate Comey, and Colbert has to correct them. No, this is a bad thing because more Russia or whatever. That was so telling. That wow, what a moment there. I mean, the left was demanding Comey be fired because he cost Hillary the election by daring to investigate her obvious crimes that she's obviously guilty of. And then they're like, but now he's going to investigate this Russia nonsense, or what she wasn't even really doing, apparently. Here's the thing. A lot of us on this side of things, we're a little disappointed in Trump. I think maybe we're a little too disappointed in Trump, but nonetheless, am I even fucking live? Oh, God damn it. Okay. All right. It looks all right. Anyways, I'm sorry. I was getting an error message on here. God damn it. Where the hell was I? Oh, shit. Just lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. With the Comey shit. So, a lot of us on this end of things, we're kind of disappointed in Trump. And yeah, maybe we're a little too disappointed. But anyways, there's a lot of reasons to be happy with him. Look, I've said this numerous times. Maybe Trump will let us down, sure. But if Trump is going to do any of the things he suggested he was going to do running up to the election, he has to get certain people in certain positions first. That's just kind of the way of things. I mean, half of the deep state was openly threatening to kill him when he came into power. So he has to get men in position, and he's got to. It's not just Comey. He's got to remove a ton of people. He's got to purge the government at many levels. So he says in Trump's defense, he's already done much more than other politicians would have. Yes, Trump's already done a great deal more. Pardon me. Now, yeah, he needs to get that wall done. And I contend, and some people argue this point, because it would lead to chaos, which is an idiotic thing. But no, Trump needs to prosecute Hillary Clinton, as well as many other high officials in the government. And I've heard people contend that that's unrealistic and it would lead to chaos. And that's, look, I get the line of thinking behind there, but we've seen that shit play out. Pardon me. God damn it, I'm sorry. But we've seen that shit play out. As I've said before, the Gerald Ford curse. Now Nixon was not the monster the left pretends he is. But he did something wrong and he should have been held to account. And he wasn't. Nixon famously looked that reporter in the eye and said, when the president does it, it's not illegal. And by pardoning him, Gerald Ford basically cemented that into law. And we've been dealing with the negative effects of that ever since. Every president afterwards got away with more than the last, didn't he? Which is why Hillary Clinton needs to pay for her crimes. We can't look at this shit anymore and say, well, we just need to move on as a country and the healing. And no, what about the chaos? And no. Hillary Clinton has to pay for her crimes. Okay? Otherwise, this nation will pay for her crimes with interest. this nonsense of upholding the law somehow leads to lawlessness is just that. It's nonsense. What it is it's a lot of people that don't have the stomach to go through the painful process of doing this. And it might be kind of painful. It might be embarrassing for the country that a former leader has to go to jail. But it has to be done. It would have been embarrassing for the country for Richard Nixon to face a trial. He wouldn't have gone to jail. What he did wasn't that big of a deal. He might have gotten a fine or something. Point is, it should have been done. Somebody says, Bechtloff, what is your Skype? I typed in the Bechtloff and couldn't find you. The Bechtloff is one word. I don't know if you did it that way. But yes, Bechtloff is one word. The Bechtloff is one word. He says, I'm sure Hillary Clinton will do fine in prison. I actually believe she wouldn't last a month. I think she would die. I think that would be a loss of the will to live kind of thing from her. I mean, she's already half fucking dead to begin with. You know, she's basically a walking corpse animated purely by spite and ambition. And the ambition part's gone now. So it's just spite. Yeah, I don't think the Moloch cult can offer her the life force of enough babies to keep her going when she's in prison. Somebody in the chat says, "What if all this time Stephen Colbert was another joke, but this time as a neoliberal?" No, I think he's just a neoliberal, which is in and of itself a joke. I mean, he is a joke. He's just not doing it on purpose. Oh, why the hell? I got the fan just blowing on the laptop here. I don't know why the laptop has decided it's having such a hard time with everything right now. So annoying. Like I said, I'm using the laptop's mic right now so they can actually have the mouse free. So hopefully that doesn't sound too bad. I gotta get a new computer, but I can't fucking get one now. I ain't got the money to spare on that. Hillary Clinton wouldn't get a nasty prison. She'd get club fed like all the other convicted politicians. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. The trial alone would probably kill her. Somebody says, we talking about Hillary? She probably does sacrifice infants to Moloch. Probably. What the hell was the other thing I want to talk about? I talked about Boogie on the last stream. Somebody has to pay for my health coverage because I weigh 900 pounds. How about you pay, Boogie? He makes a shit ton of money off YouTube. At least he did. Maybe the adpocalypse caused him problems, but yeah, he was making a shit ton of money. Let's see. Somebody says the religious right only ever offered propaganda movies, boring stories. That they did. Pastor Tom did a stream on what makes. Pastor Tom did a stream that was. I can't fucking see today on what makes good Christian movies. As I'm reading it, the chat kicks further down. But yeah, I've talked about that a lot before. And I've said numerous times that, while they're not great movies, there's more interesting theology and more to say on the concepts of sin and temptation and hedonism in the Hellraiser movies than in a million Christian films. Christian films are just they're just terrible. Fireproof is horrendous, and that's treated as one of the best. I mean, aside from the rampant fucking feminism running through it, or I don't even know if you'd call it feminism, like Churchianity's version of feminism. That's terrible. Fireproof is offensively bad. Then there's that other movie they made afterwards, Courageous, which was like about cops instead of firemen, and it's just like a bunch of little intertwined subplots, and That movie literally ends with an altar call. So yeah, these are. Somebody says, "Do you think Chelsea is Bill Clinton's daughter?" I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if she wasn't. Let me put it that way. So he says Bellini makes much more than the average person. Why does he need Obamacare? He doesn't. So he says Courageous was fucking gay. Yes, it was. It was terrible. Boogie has no excuse not to have money. He has a large audience sympathetic enough to pay for his medical bills, as douchey as that sounds. So he says the only one I kind of liked was God's Not Dead. I wouldn't call it a masterpiece, though. I hadn't seen that one. I mean, I really like The Passion, but other than that, no. But see, part of the problem is that if you're making a movie, your first job is to make a movie. It's to entertain. It doesn't matter what message you want to put in if it's not even entertaining. Nobody's going to watch it. I mean, let me put it this way: any Christian can use his job as an opportunity to minister to people or to evangelize people, but not if they're not first doing their job. Then they don't have any credibility to do. Pardon me. Sorry, I'm coughing so much here. Somebody messaged me on the Skypes there. Eve La Resistance messaged me. I don't know if you want to call in or not. Let's see. We'll go ahead and send him a link. He can hop in if he wants. The Comey thing is good news, though. I think that'll bode well. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, I picked up a new Marvel comic just on a whim yesterday. It's called Zombies Assemble, and it was actually originally produced as a manga out in Japan by Marvel, and was translated and brought over here. Then it's basically like a zombie outbreak happening in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like it's that version of the Avengers. It looks like it probably takes place before Avengers 2. I think it probably came out before Avengers 2 originally. Like the members of the Avengers have even become infected and all. So I don't know if there's going to be some magic cure-all or if this is, its own standalone story where just people die or something. But it was a pretty good read. I enjoyed it. And part of that's because I've just starved for some Marvel comics that don't suck. But yeah, I got a kick out of it. It's worth checking out. I will say though that I didn't even look at the price when I bought it because I didn't get a ton of comics, but I got a couple other ones this week, and I just saw it on the shelf and picked it up. And when I got home, I noticed it was fucking $4.99, which is ridiculous for a comic book, particularly when this was in black and white too. I guess because manga is almost never colorized. So that was fucking stupid. So if you do want to read it, I would just suggest that you wait. It'll probably just be collected into a trade or a little digest or whatever. I'm not even sure if I'm going to get issue 2. I'll probably just wait. It's going to be that expensive. What's up? What's on your mind, caller there?
Oh, hello. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to talk about how leftists are losing their audience in the media and how they're not
Mm-hmm.
on anymore. I was just reading an article about the next. Have you seen American Horror Story?
I have not watched any American Horror Story. I have some friends that are big fans of it, but I've never gotten into it.
Well, then the next season is going to be about the latest election, and the monster is going to be a elephant, which is the symbol of the Republican Party.
Ah, yes. So American Horror Story is going to die this day.
Yes, exactly. And I was just thinking about how it's going to become like the Christian movies, the really preachy ones, where they have the like they're almost regressing back to that point with the I already said preachy, but yeah, that's what I meant.
Well, that's exactly what it is. See, you can't. I mean, look, if you wanted to put your political message, your theological views, your philosophical views into whatever you're writing, a book, a movie, video game, whatever, um, the way to do that is that you try to tell a good story, and your views are going to naturally just flow into it. But when you are like, okay, I intend to beat people over the head with my political views, and if I entertain them, that's fucking incidental. Um, Nobody wants to see that shit. I mean, yeah, there's going to be all kinds of liberals that go watch this stupid shit, but there's not a lot of them really. And a lot of them don't really have any fucking money. So, they're not the audience you want to pander to. The more that audience is pandered to, uh, the more the more these things just hemorrhage ratings, just hemorrhage view, especially now as things are shifting rightward. Everyone has shifted rightward in the last few years, whether people are willing to admit it or not. Odds are you have moved significantly right from where you were 3 or 4 years ago. That's true of virtually everybody right now, except for the real Kool-Aid drinkers. So nobody wants this shit anymore. And yeah, I mean, it's why Marvel Comics can't sell books despite greater interest in their characters than ever. It's why TV is just dying. I mean, nobody fucking watches TV anymore. You know, yeah,
Yeah,
that crap doesn't sell. Go ahead.
I said exactly.
Yeah,
Uh,
it
there's
doesn't. It does
also
not sell. It
there's also The Handmaid's Tale, which is about like it's going to be feminist propaganda mostly.
What is that? Is
Um,
that a new video game? I keep hearing that name, but I'm not sure what it is.
it's a new Netflix show, I think.
Oh, Netflix show.
It's
Yeah.
based off of a book,
Mm.
and the book is about a woman who goes through. There's like an apocalypse, and uh, all of the politicians and people in the government get overthrown by this really traditional Christian cult or whatever it is, and all of the women lose their rights. They lose their rights and they have to become handmaids and have babies for the leaders of the country now. And it's about like it talks about like abortion and things like that.
Honestly, though, if a feminist was writing it, you you'd probably get the impression, like all through it, that she secretly wanted that.
Well, Linda
Because
Sarsour,
I
who
really think that every feminist, like at least the hardcore mouthy ones, all of them, I think, have a rape fantasy. Like I look
yeah,
at Lacey Green and I'm like, she is just desperate for somebody to throw her on the fucking couch and tell her to shut the fuck up and take her.
hmm yeah, Linda Sarsour, who supports Sharia law, likes the show. So
Well,
that says
of
a lot.
course. I mean, for fuck's sake, feminists are cozying up to Muslims. What if
Yeah,
that's, if that's not all the proof you need that feminism is nothing more than a giant shit test on society?
it certainly is. Well,
Huh.
that's all I want to talk about.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Yep. All righty. Yeah, The Handmaid's Tale. So I can't wait to not watch that on Netflix. And it's a shame too. Netflix got some good stuff. Stranger Things is good. Daredevil's really good. I honestly have not watched any of their Marvel shows, and I keep like meaning to, but truth be told, I don't care. I never gave much of a shit about Jessica Jones or Iron Fist or Luke Cage. I just really never did. And I mean, they're not bad characters, at least in the books, but you know, I don't care, and I don't know. I keep meaning to sit down and watch him. It's not like I love Daredevil. Daredevil is one of my favorite Marvel things. So I was excited for the Daredevil show. I actually it was basically what got me to get a Netflix account. The other ones, I don't really care. I mean, honestly, like in my favorite things at Marvel are probably Avengers, Spider-Man, and Daredevil. Although Spider-Man, I don't care for post One More Day, but all time, I mean, before One More Day, Spider-Man used to be basically my favorite fictional thing. Let's see. Somebody says I watched Samurai Jack. I've heard good things about Samurai Jack. I mean, on TV, all I watch is Flash, Arrow, and Rick and Morty. That's it. You know, there's other shows I'll watch sometimes, but those are the ones like every time they're on, I watch. Isn't there a Punisher show coming out soon? I'm not sure if they're doing Punisher yet. I know the next thing is Defenders, like the team of all these street level characters. Which actually Defenders in the comic book, the original Defenders were actually Hulk, Silver Surfer, Namor, and Doctor Strange. They were sort of like an outsiders kind of Avengers, which considerably more powerful than the Avengers. That's a pretty powerful fucking foursome there. And then there were other characters would wander in and out of the lineup, but those were the four main guys. Let's see. I've never seen Samurai Jack, but I remember like Samurai Jack was hot shit back when I was in high school. Everyone was talking about that. You know how awesome the original stuff, how awesome the animation was, and it was so intelligent for a kid's show and shit. But I just never got sucked into it. I think I watched like one of them, and that was it. Um, Shit, the last Samurai Jack thing I remember anything about it was a comic book I read. IDW had the rights to a bunch of Cartoon Network stuff, so they did this big like, you know, crossover story with Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, and Samurai Jack. I remember just picking that up, like that comic book series, just to check it out. So I used to love the Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Lab. Let's see. Scrolling through here. So he says Better Call Saul is probably the best thing on Netflix at the moment. See, I never even watched Breaking Bad, so I don't know. Better Call Saul is a spinoff of that, if I'm not mistaken. So he says, theory, feminists want Muslims pouring in to fulfill their rape fantasies. Yeah, you're probably not wrong. Let's see. People are talking about something that happened in Samurai. So apparently Tumblr is bitching about something in Samurai Jack. I don't know. I haven't watched it. I know a bunch of Samurai Jack fans got all pissed off because for April Fools, they played episode 1 of season 3 of Rick and Morty all night instead of Samurai Jack. Oh, Rick and Morty's so awesome. I need that McNugget sauce. Let's see. You should talk about how scientists establish a definitive link between Sonic the Hedgehog and autism. I'm not familiar with that. I mean, but I could have told you that. I mean, shit. I'm the least autistic Sonic the Hedgehog fan in the world. And I think sometimes I got a bit of the autism in me. Apparently, the Muppets are a big autism magnet too. I didn't realize this, but I think it's just anything about like cartoon animals really does it. But I remember that there was an article on that Breakpoint site years ago where Emily Coulson, who's Chuck Colson's daughter, Chuck Colson was the founder of that ministry. He was also one of the major guys involved in the Watergate scandal, interestingly enough. But anyways, Emily Colson has an autistic son, and I mean super fucking autistic. Like, this kid is not fucking functional. He's in his 20s, and, you know, he's got less control of himself than a 5-year-old. Now, I happen to think part of that is because a lot of autistic kids, especially in church Christianity circles, are coddled. I mean, yeah, there are some that are far too gone, but for example, Christian, there's no reason Christian had to be what Christian is. He could be a functional, reasonably happy adult. Anyways, this kid, and I say kid, he's in his 20s. He's watching the Muppets, and this was probably 2013 because it was like the recent Muppet reboots. I say recent, but you know, the last movie that was just called The Muppets. Let me put it that way. And he's just fucking having a fit in the middle of the movie theater, and people start getting all mad at her because, you know, they paid to watch this movie in peace, and then, you know, she wrote this article about how people were mean to her, right? Well, no, they weren't. You were the one that was out of line. If you couldn't control that young man, you shouldn't have brought him in there. But, you know, everybody, I'm a victim. You know, everybody else is supposed to just have their experience ruined because, you know, I want to bring my fucking retard kid out here. No, it doesn't work that way. And I bet you that kid's fucking coddled. He probably doesn't have to be that way. But it gives this woman some sense of purpose to be constantly caring for this fucking spaz. It's almost a bit of Munchausen. Let's see. So he says, I never got into Sonic much. The only things I like about Sonic is I love the original Genesis games. And I like that kind of sad AM cartoon with like Princess Sally. I think that cartoon still holds up, actually. And the comic book that it was based off of, I popped in and out of that over the years. I used to love it as a kid. But that's it. Modern Sonic games, I think, are shit. I think Adventure 1 and 2 are incredibly overrated. Although, to be fair, I've only played bits and pieces of 2. Adventure 1 is incredibly overrated. That one I have played through almost entirely. I don't think I did all the stories in it, but nah, it's not for me. Let's see. Somebody says I lost the Sonic-tism once they gave him blue arms. Well, you should like Mesa GameStop employee. Let's see. I couldn't get into the Genesis games because I kept feeling like I was shit when I couldn't go through a level fast enough. Well, you know, that's the thing. I don't think Sonic demands you go through shit fast. Like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I think, has a really perfect balance of exploration and speed. I mean, you can go through those levels fast, but you're also rewarded for exploration. In fact, I really like playing as Knuckles or Tails because you can get all the emeralds a lot faster. Let's see. So he says, I hear Sonic Boom is a good show. They make fun of the fan base and even put Christian on their show. Yeah, they got that like elephant creature that looks like Christian. And I've seen like an episode or two, and from what I've heard, somebody calling me on Skype. Don't call me on Skype. Message me on Skype, and I will send you a link. But from what I've heard, like Sonic Boom is probably the second best Sonic show ever. Not that that's saying a lot. It is, and I've seen a couple episodes. It's a funny, charming show. It's almost a shame that it's associate it with absolutely horrible games. Although supposedly the games are improving. So maybe they'll actually be able to make something worthwhile after that side thing on the games. Okay. Messaging disabled until. Okay. I'll add you to contacts then. All right. Randall, you tried to call me. I'm going to add you to contacts. You have to accept the thing so I can message you the link to get in here. As Christopher Cantwell says, don't fucking call me on Skype. Yeah, that's not how it works. You don't call me on the Skype stare. All right. If I accept, no one, I have headphones in. No one could hear you. Okay. So this guy wants to hop in. I'll send him a link. Because all I'm doing is rambling on about Sonic's fucking arms. So I think we can hear what this gentleman has to say. All right. Neil Bechtloff, why do you use Skype instead of like Discord or something? When I switched to Discord, I thought it was infinitely better because I don't know what Discord is. That's why. I believe you are the first person that has told me about Discord. I'll look into it. Let's see. So he says, I think Sonic Boom is kind of bad. Well, I mean, it's a kid's show. You gotta give it some leeway. Like Sticks the Badger makes me laugh in it, though. I will say that. Like virtually every scene she's in, like she makes me laugh. Let's see what we got going on here. Pardon me. Mr. McToger complains about Discord nonstop. Let's see. Hello?
Oh, am I on?
How's it going? What's on your mind there, caller?
I'm just, browsing the web the other day, and I hear there's this article somewhere. It's by SJWs, like they're saying how straight men who have sex with other straight men are somehow considered not gay or something like that. What's your take on that?
Why, I don't believe that's how that works. I believe if you last I checked, if you're a dude and you're fucking a dude, you're at least bisexual.
Yeah, that's how. I mean, that's apparently the article's by Salon, and they essentially call bro job or something like that. I don't know.
Is it like in rap culture when you're in prison, it's not gay if you're on top? I'm not sure how that works.
Nah, but no, seriously, it's being promoted by Salon articles and all that kind of stuff.
Salon's about a year away from actively promoting bug chasing.
Yeah, yeah, I hear California is almost passing that law as well. It's all down here from there. So.
Having AIDS is going to be mandatory in the Salon fucking utopia.
If that ever happens, hopefully the Republicans in California can hopefully move out or maybe take over and make California
just wait for everyone else to die of AIDS.
Yeah, I mean, all right. Other than that, that's all that I wanted to.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Yep. Yeah, that's not how that works, Salon. Okay. I mean, you can even be bisexual who leans mostly straight, I guess, but you are at that point bisexual. I mean, look, I'm willing to grant you that. This is the thing. This is the crazy thing. Salon doesn't realize it's kind of shooting its own liberal bullshit in the dick, but that's because the left never understands that. The left always tells you that your sexuality, it's set in stone. You were born that way. You can't help it. But then they push articles like this that seem to express that maybe there's a big old element of nurture to your sexuality, and maybe you can kind of shift in your sexuality. But see, they only ever say you could shift towards the fag side. They never want to admit that maybe someone who's bisexual can just kind of grow out of that. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of teenagers who grow out of that kind of a phase. You know, maybe they don't even get a chance to ever act on that, but especially girls. You know, girls are especially tend to grow out of that sort of bisexual. Sometimes I've known a few girls who briefly thought they were just lesbians, and then they settled down with some dude. You know, because they were having a little fun with a girlfriend, and they decided, well, maybe this is for me, and they realize it's not. There's definitely, I don't want to quite say like spectrum because you know, I don't sound like Bill Nye, but sexuality is definitely a lot more nurture than a lot of the left is willing to admit. Um, and see that again, they don't want to admit that because you were born this way, you can't help it, you know. Somebody says it's just a phase, man. I haven't heard that in a long time. Well, you know, I've seen that play out in people. I honestly have. I've seen people grow out of it. Um, yeah. Roosh V said that once, and it's still a non-starter to them. What I mean, look, they can say whatever they want. I mean, but it's, you know, look, I don't believe, with very few exceptions, anyone is really born gay. But yeah, there's people that are certainly born with more of a predisposition to it. No, I don't believe anybody's born gay. I think it's probably more nurture than anything else. I think a lot of sexuality in adulthood um, is people trying to have people subconsciously trying to have needs met that they didn't have met as a child. As a child, you know, there's a reason you often say about the hooker or the stripper that daddy didn't love her. So yeah, there's a considerable amount of evidence that a lot of times with homosexuals is that they did not ever properly bond with either the parent of the same sex and or peers of the same sex, and they're just trying to fill that void. There was this bisexual chick in my dorm who was batshit crazy. She straight up tried to break into my room several times. Well, here's the thing. I mean, if somebody is like, generally speaking, if somebody's wearing their sexuality on their sleeve, that more than anything else is a sign that they're fucking crazy. All right. There, there's plenty of bisexual chicks that you just don't know they're bisexual. Because, you know, I mean, look, most women are bisexual. Okay. You know, it's just a question of the right girl and how much alcohol needs to be involved. I mean, most women have that in them far more than men. Um, there's all kinds of reasons that may be, but you know, trust me, you know, it's amazing how many would never do that till they do. Um, but yeah, if you're wearing kind of your oddball sexuality on your sleeve, then that's more than anything else an indicator. I mean, you can't. That something's wrong with you. You can't derive identity from anything more than how you nut. I mean, that's a problem. All right. Somebody says, aren't pederasts just into prepubescent boys only? Okay. Well, no. I believe a pederast is different than a pedophile, if I'm not mistaken. I think pederast is somebody who fucks teenagers. So that wouldn't be prepubescent boys. Um, unless I'm got that wrong in my head somehow, but I believe that's what a pederast is. Let's see. She was pretty willing to tell everyone about her being bi. Yeah, that's a way bigger red flag than her actually being bi. Somebody says, my gay friend of 10 years started avoiding me because I said gay genes are a myth, despite knowing I opposed gayness for years. I noticed him becoming toxic, so I showed him. Well, I mean, look, I realize it's not quite that simple because there are recessive genes and what have you, but a gay gene just seems fucking absurd on face value. Isn't that the exact kind of fucking genetic trait that natural selection would weed out for obvious reasons? So he says, I don't think most girls are actually bi. They just know it's a damn good way of getting attention from men. I don't know. I mean, like, I like getting attention from women, but I would never suck a dick to do it. I mean, so I think there's got to be a little bit of bi in there for it. You know, I want Taylor Swift to notice me, but not that bad. All right. How do gay genes pass on? How do gays pass on genes if natural selection said they can't? Well, you could argue that maybe it's a recessive thing, like, that kind of thing. Like, two parents that have dormant gay genes producing, combined to produce an active gay. But still, by and large, it's by nature, it would weed itself out. And again, I don't think it's a moral defense saying I have a gay gene. I mean, somebody might be born with a predisposition genetically to have a violent temper. It doesn't mean they're allowed to go beating motherfuckers up. The whole process of civilization is that you're supposed to control your natural urges and get them in line with this whole thing we call civilization. So he says women aren't as turned on by gays as men, but are by lesbians though. Yes, but what I'm saying is if they were, okay, if the hottest women in the world were all about that and I knew I could, get them to fuck me by sucking a dick in front of them, I would not do that. Okay. You know, I think you got to have some manner of bi in you to even be considering that, regardless of I'll grant you that most women are lean heterosexual, but they have some. They are a little bi. There's no getting around it. I'm not even saying that that's morally right or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying this is what it is. Let's see. Um, Somebody says light skin is only 10,000 years old. Probably. Let's see. Bechtloff, in the Navy during the 70s and 80s, you could be gay for only a certain time, but you'd have to sign a form saying you wouldn't do it ever again. Huh. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's weird. I've read a little bit of the military code of conduct on sexuality, and it's very weird. It goes into far more detail than it needs to. I mean, as I understand it, like, a military man getting a blowjob from his fucking wife is against the code of conduct. I don't know how the fuck anybody's ever going to find that out, but if that was ever enforced, I don't know who would be left in them. I don't know. Um, all women are bi, honestly. They're more about emotional attraction. So he says, how often do you actually have to deal with gays in PA? They're becoming harder to avoid out here. Honestly, I don't know. I don't like having to deal with them in professional setting, which I have to a lot. There's I mean, I'm certain there's gays out here, but most of them I would imagine are closeted, just because of the nature of this conservative area. And now you get into like Lancaster City, it's a bit different. There actually is a gay bar in Lancaster City. It's funny too. I got taken to that gay bar by my girlfriend years ago. I want to say like 03, 04, something like that. No, it was probably 04, 05. Yeah. And she liked going there because the guys wouldn't hit on her, but she could still dance with them, kind of thing. And she didn't tell me it was a gay bar because she knew I wouldn't fucking take her if I knew. I'm like, I didn't want to go to that. And I'm like in that bar, and like immediately I'm thinking like, there's a lot of fags in here, right? And then I went to go take a piss, and there was no door on the stall in the bathroom, and I'm like, huh. Sort of shenanigans were going on in here that we felt need to take the door off the stall. And then I just walked out, and I'm like, I'm going home. Like, I'm your ride, so I suggest you pay your tab and meet me in the car. I will wait 5 minutes, and then I drive off. She didn't. She was behind me before I even got to the car. Like, come on, I was having fun. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Let's see. Um, let's see. So he says, I'm in the art world. Homofags are drawn into that community for some unfortunate reason. Hard to avoid them. Hey, I don't know why that is. I don't know if they're, you know, yeah. I mean, you could speculate why exactly there's that correlation for, days on end. Okay, so you went to a gay bar but won't give blowjobs to sleep with beautiful women. LOL. I didn't know it was a gay bar. I wouldn't have gone. I don't like going to regular bars. All right. Somebody says, Bechtloff, was it one of those weird fetish bars that involved hardcore sex? No, it wasn't. But it was, I don't know. I guess I don't claim to know what a run of the mill gay bar is, but I would imagine this was it. Um, just full of fags. And I think they were playing like Bravo on the TV. I almost think it would be funny for somebody to go in there as like an oblivious dude, bro. Like fucking like a pop collar and shit like that. And just like walk up to the bartender and try to order like just the most like, I don't know, a natty ice or something. Just the most dude bro fucking beer you can. Just be like, man, there's a lot of fags in here. Hey, can you turn the game on? Let's see. Somebody says, you went to a gay bar. How did that happen? Somebody fill me in. Okay, quickly, and this ain't the remedial class, so I don't like doing this. But quickly, I will fill you in, commenter. I got dragged to a gay bar by a girlfriend I was seeing at the time who liked going to various bars. She liked going to this one because guys didn't hit on her there. She did not tell me it was a gay bar. When I figured out it was a gay bar, I'm like, I'm fucking leaving. I'm your ride. I suggest you come with. Uh, So he says the art animation world is full of SJWs. Interesting how the 2D animators are more degenerate, whereas 3D animators would have their shit together. 3D is tougher, would be my guess. Yeah, that would be my guess. I think you need actually more skill to, computer 3D animate. Um, that would be my guess. And Lord knows SJWs generally don't want to put in the work. They'd rather just fart out some crap like Rob Liefeld or something. Oh my God, that's the other thing I wanted to touch on. Okay, and I'm going to tell this story with the on Saturday with Luke. So last Saturday, obviously, Black James called in, and he was vehemently defending Rob Liefeld. And I mean, I had to mute his mic at one point to get a word in edgewise because he just. All right, so, and I'm sorry, I laid out a very logical case, but I think the guy's artwork is shit, just objectively speaking. Now, here's the one story I want to tell about what a shithead Rob Liefeld is personally. This is a true story. He himself tells this story. So back in the mid-'90s, Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee came back to Marvel and did this Heroes Reborn stuff, which was basically, I'm not going to go into the nerd details here because I do want to wrap this up shortly, but it's just, they're just sort of reimagining of Fantastic Four and Avengers. They launched 4 titles. They relaunched Iron Man, Captain America, Fantastic Four, and Avengers. Rob Liefeld did this promotional artwork for Captain America. And if you search out like Captain America, Rob Liefeld, like big chest or something, you'll see it. Where like, I don't know how else to put it. It's like this profile view and his chest is coming out so far. It almost looks like his chest is opening up like Benders from Futurama or something. I don't know how else to put it. It's insane when you look at it. I don't have Luke here, so I can't show y'all. But it's fucking insane. And I'll show it to you Saturday. Now, here's the thing. Rob, this was a promotional image to try and get people in like wanting to get this book, and he submitted this shit. Jim Lee called him that fucking night when he got it and said, Rob, you need to redo this. This is horrendous. And Rob was all like, fuck you. I know what I'm doing. It looks good. To this day, that image haunts him. To this day, that has become, and he'll even be like, I should have listened. Yeah, Rob, you should have. And you should also go fucking take an anatomy at a fucking perspective class. But he doesn't want to fucking do that. He's this arrogant ass fucking cocksucker. So yeah, I want to tell that story Saturday. When I can actually show you the image. Wow. It's unreal. Like, I mean, Captain America's pecs come out, I would say, like, almost a fucking foot from his face. Like, they're that far. It's so distorted and wrong. Oh. All right, folks. Well, I got some shit I got to do around here, so I think I'm going to wrap this up. If you enjoy the show, I would invite you to check out the tip jar down below. That kind of thing is greatly appreciated, particularly in my current situation. And as I've said before, it's good to, not just me, but it's good to support the alternative media that you enjoy, especially these days. So if you enjoy the show, tips of any size are greatly appreciated, folks. All right, so that's all we got for today, folks. Thanks for listening. Bechtloff out.